Hello everyone, welcome back. We're criticizing online conquest guides. We're looking at Bombard, the 8 scout variant today. So this setup is particularly one of the most deadly and is one of the easiest to use. Well, I don't know, I would call it one of the most deadly. I guess it's something you might use if you're pretty lazy. You don't want to really make calculations, you want your opponent to be doing that. All you're going to be doing is staying in the corner. I wouldn't really call it too deadly. I mean, it's pretty much just a standard set. It's not like it's better than the others, I would say. I mean, it's going to beat Rush. It's going to coin flip on anti-rush. And, it's going to beat Regenerate, coin flip on anti-rush, and then versus Rush, it's going to get steamrolled. So these are most commonly seen. Staking can be overwhelming for the other opponent as they have to make a quick attack. Alright, but with the equal champion wall to regenerate. Please don't say regenerate in a Bombard set. Please say like to mend or like just to fix. That would be nice. Suiciding scouts to Bombard is a priority. I wouldn't say so. You don't really suicide them. I mean, you trade them off to weaken their wall. I wouldn't say suicide. However, champions are more valuable than they seem on a Bombard setup, and you'll need to rid the opponent's valuable things, losing as few of your champions as possible. Well, that's a given for every set, isn't it? While the opponent moves their scout within range of your champion, continue to move it back. You'll need multiple scouts advance to make the attack. Attack at least 3 in the beginning and 4 in the late in the game. This is because of vigilance. And if you don't slaughter their scouts in one turn, you will probably able to the next. That wasn't very descriptive. 3 in the beginning because of vigilance. That's not very coherent. I don't know what they mean by because of vigilance. You know, not every opponent's going to have vigilance. I mean, I can see why you'd move your scout back, like just a space or whatever. It's because you're just trying to stall. But like 4 in the late game, I don't think you really need necessarily any scouts in the late game. You can just have a champion. Right? So let's see. A popular way to rid someone of scouts if they have 4 is when they pull one up. Kill one with your champion. But charge when they have 3 left. Well, already you've skipped a turn. Maybe they've used charged and battle crown their champion that was defending those scouts. So, perhaps that's not going to work out. Perhaps they hit you with a halberd, lowered your health. Maybe they finish you off with battle cry next turn. Or heck, maybe they used it this turn, you have 100 health. So charge when they have 3 left. Then kill one, bombard another, and chastise the rest. You mean the last, not the rest. That implies there's more than one. But at this point, you will still I don't think you will have a lot of command points. You just wasted like 300 of them to use bombard, charge, and chastise. So that's over 300 command points you've just used. I mean, you gained like 200 back, or not 200. You gained 50 back. That's not much. It's still almost 300 that you've wasted. So I would definitely not recommend using charge on your champion just to kill some scouts. He's going to end up dying. So this setup works sleepy, particularly well on regenerate, as there are 2 ways to finish off a champion with a champion. And regenerate usually only has chastise, which does not work well, or shield wall, which is countered by your Well, it's not countered by chastise in a 1 versus 1 endgame. I think Rush actually has a very good chance in that sort of endgame. Regenerate has a good chance in that endgame. It doesn't tell you too much how to play it. Sort of tells you how to open that you want to stall in the opening. Tells you how to kill their scouts, which I would consider a very bad piece of advice. But yeah, Bombard, you're just going to stall and try to save up as many command points as possible. You want to really try to not use Bombard on scouts just because it costs 200 command points. You can use it on a halberd, I guess, and finish him off with a scout. That gets you like 75 of the points back, so that's pretty good. Can use it on a champion to weaken him if you're going to finish him off pretty soon. Or maybe you're in the late end game where you need to store up, I guess, 1,000 entire command points to use Bombard 5 times on a champion to kill it, because neither of you can approach, but again, you've got the Bombard to end up winning. So the weaknesses. Scouts, no, those are not weaknesses. That's pretty equal. Champions, no, that's pretty much every set. Again, they're just trying to be equal. Trying to just make the best set they can. Bombard, well, yeah, the player that goes second with Bombard usually wins. So I would say Winds of Fate actually doesn't beat Bombard. I'm going to go ahead and say Winds of Fate loses to Bombard, just because they can use if you've got a weakened champion, which is very common, you can't defend yourself with Battle Cry. That's the only thing Winds of Fate has to defend. And even if they don't, they can actually finish you off with a Bombard and a Battle Cry when you're trying to use Battle Cry to defend. So, yeah, Winds of Fate does not beat Bombard. I would say Bombard beats Winds of Fate. Regenerate is not a weakness. It even said that Regenerate, it says it works well on Regenerate, but then it calls it a weakness. It's very inconsistent. Now, I wouldn't say Shield Wall or Stoicism in and of themselves are necessarily weaknesses of Bombard. When you use them together, like with Rush, then they become a weakness, right? But everything else is pretty much just equal. But yeah, Rush is definitely going to beat Bombard, which is weird that they didn't, mention that. They also could have listed some fun ways you can use Bombard. Well, not really Bombard, but like with Regenerate, where you're faking regen and you actually have Winds of Fate, you can fake Bombard. So you actually just replace Bombard with like Regenerate. And again, maybe you play like a kind of a novice player. You leave your wall open so that they can charge and Battle Cry you. Again, maybe the more obvious the mistake, the more it's obvious what you're doing. But you get them to charge Battle Cry you with the Scout, and then you pop out Regenerate like way later in the game, or maybe right there, because again they just use their commands and you've got the potential to go attack them now. So you can use Regenerate just like that, or obviously swap with Winds of Fate. You can actually use Stoicism and Regen. That's a common one I see in place of Bombard. So a little different from Regen. Replace Chastise with Stoicism, because you've got the extra command points to end up spending on that. But yeah, let's actually end this reading with a bit of staking. Never stake if you're new. Obviously, develops with experience. I don't know. I think some people have a pretty good intuition. Still don't recommend. When staking, ranking means little. Some people make alternates with like 500 ranking. I actually knew some people who would stake others somehow. I don't know how they ever did it. I've never found anyone who wants to stake, who just wants to stake in general, even someone who they know is at their own skill level. Like, not even me. Also, since many people have, low ranking, they use them to stake. If anyone asks you to stake, the answer is no, you don't want to stake. Anyone who's willing to stake you knows what they are doing, which must be pretty scary for the person who's actually offering a stake too. Like, if they accept, then they probably know what they're doing. They actually have a decent shot at beating you. So yeah, I guess that's where I'm gonna end this video on Bombard. We covered the main sets. So we looked at Rush. Again, recommend it. Very aggressive set, pushing forward. Anti-Rush, kind of an all-around set. I would definitely recommend this for beginners, or really any level play. And the 40 spam variant, we looked at Regenerate. We discussed those tactics. How you're just going to use Charge Battle Cry. Usually it's actually a draw versus anti-rush, but you know there's a lot for you to discover on your own, and how this can also be used with Winds of Fate. And finally, today we've looked at Bombard here, maybe some tricky variants. But yeah, I actually think you can use Bombard against any set the same way. One thing it didn't mention was to use Charge and Battle Cry with your scouts against the enemy champion, because that's like 3 free Bombards, basically. That's how I see it. So instead of spending 600 command points, you spent 150. Send another scout and he'll be finished off pretty quickly. And he's also a free 200 command points to use Bombard again, so there's that. One final thought about Bombard. You can use it to break into an opponent's wall. So, they've got their nice scout wall lined up, and maybe they've just weakened your champion, and you're marching him forward because you really want to trade that weakened champion of yours for a full HP champion. Well, you can actually just sort of walk up, and if they try to hide behind a wall, you can use Bombard on that wall to break it open and then move in to attack them. So that's something to be wary of, both as Bombard and playing against Bombard. So in that respect, you need to control space more than you do just trying to build your wall, because Bombard's going to get around the wall. But thanks for watching. Join me again sometime later. We'll be looking at, I think these are user-recommended sets. I don't know if they go through any sort of review process, but yeah, not only do these guides suck, but the set itself is usually pretty bad as well. So join me then.